Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race, our common enemy is death. Welcome on Perfect Society. I'm Ulrich B.C. Hoffman and you're watching the broadcast. Al Gore's global warming hoax will cost the Netherlands 1 trillion euros. What will I cover in this broadcast? First, I will cover an article by Thierry Baudet, and I've made a translation using Google Translate. That's right there. I've also checked with another one, but anyway, I had to make a lot of corrections, so it took more time than I had planned for this. But the translation is done, so we'll read this. This is the translation, and you can see where did that come from, 1000 billion, and that should be where did the trillion euro figure come from. And so first I start by indicating that 1000 miljard in Dutch is 1 billion in Dutch, and that's 1 trillion in English. So miljoen in Dutch is a million, miljard is billion, and billion is trillion in English. Okay? So it's about a trillion, a billion in Dutch. Okay, so then we can read the translation of the article now. Perhaps the speech engine has to do with Open Broadcaster software starting up. While I'm restarting it, the slideshow can be used. Just 1 second, it's almost there, and then we'll start reading the massive article written by Thierry Baudet of Forum for Democracy, fvd.
Where did the trillion euro figure come from? July 2019, Februari, 4 p.m., by Thierry Baudet, fvd.nl. Several times we mentioned the astronomical costs of climate targets in the climate debate. If we want to achieve an emissions reduction of 95% by 2050 and 100% renewable energy, that will cost us at least 1.000 billion. A huge sum that will collapse our entire economy and completely disrupt our society. And all for a completely immeasurable temperature difference of 0.00007 degrees less warming in the coming century. Where did the trillion euro figure come from? The costs are primarily in the radical remodeling of all 8 million homes. To become climate neutral, they should stop using gas, and that is only possible by installing a heat pump and a hermetic isolation. This therefore requires,
So I've just finished translating it. Apparently there's one error at the beginning. Hopefully the rest is error-free. Let's start again.
Where did the trillion euro figure come from? July 2019, Februari, 4 p.m., by Thierry Baudet, fvd.nl. Several times we mentioned the astronomical costs of climate targets in the climate debate. If we want to achieve an emissions reduction of 95% by 2050 and 100% renewable energy, that will cost us at least 1 trillion. A huge sum that will collapse our entire economy and completely disrupt our society. And all for a completely immeasurable temperature difference of 0.00007 degrees less warming in the coming century. Where did the trillion euro figure come from? The costs are primarily in the radical remodeling of all 8 million homes. To become climate neutral, they should stop using gas, and that is only possible by installing a heat pump and a hermetic isolation. This therefore requires, among other things, opening and re-insulating the entire cavity wall. The roof is replaced by a better insulated roof. Dormer windows can stay, completely filling all crawl spaces with concrete and insulation. Completely new heating plants and pipes, including heat pumps with indoor and outdoor units. Removal of all floors to install floor heating in each room, as the lukewarm water of a heat pump cannot heat a home through regular radiators. The entire bathroom must be replaced to facilitate floor heating. Doors must be completely insulated so that heat does not escape to the hall. All secondary rooms, including bedrooms, should be provided with convector radiators. Kitchens should be rebuilt. Gas stoves should be replaced with induction cooktops. Double pane insulating glazing must be installed everywhere. All windows must be fitted with a mechanical air freshener, and sleeping with an open window is no longer possible. The Economic Institute for Construction, IB, has calculated that this gigantic operation will cost us at least €235 billion. 1. Taco van Hoek, IB director, estimates that such an amount will also be required for all other buildings, in particular industrial buildings. 2. This by itself brings the cost for us to make the urban environment climate neutral, by itself only responsible for a meager 12% of national CO2 emissions, to an amount of €470 billion. 3. This amounts to approximately €60,000 per household. The idea that this concerns investments that you earn back is nonsense. If households were still allowed to use gas for their heating, it would take at least 50 years to earn back such renovation costs, but because heat can only be taken from electricity in the future, the energy bill will inevitably rise. Just keeping a heat pump installation running costs an average of 6,000 kilowatt-hours more per year than keeping a central heating boiler running, a difference that amounts to more than €1,000 in extra energy costs per household per year. 4. And that electricity also has to come from somewhere, 100% sustainable, according to the climate law. To reach 27% renewable energy in 2030 alone, we will have already spent at least $180 billion. 5. Achieving 100% sustainable energy in 2050 is expected to cost at least double, if not triple, between €400 and €600 billion. In reality, however, the costs will be even higher because the integration costs of a sustainable share logically increase exponentially above 30%. 6. What will cost that much money? First of all, unprecedented subsidies for wind, solar and biomass power plants. Then a dramatic expansion of the electricity grid to cope with all these renewables. All streets must be broken open, extra cables must be laid everywhere. Then all existing cars must be replaced by very expensive and non-profitable Teslas and other fully electric cars. All of the Netherlands must be provided with charging stations, and charging stations must be installed at all parking places. The construction of this infrastructure alone will cost tens of billions. In addition, millions of cars will have to be connected to the power grid every night, which will require a further expansion of the high voltage grid. All ships must also be replaced. All fishing boats, all cargo ships, all trucks, all tractors. Again, astronomical expenses that must be made by Dutch citizens. So, €470 billion for the urban environment. €180 billion for 27% renewable energy. Yet again at least another €400 billion for 100% renewable energy. With all these spendings we have already surpassed 1,000 billion, equals 1 trillion, liberally. And then we haven't even talked about industry and the agricultural sector, responsible for around 25% of our total CO2 emissions. Making these sectors completely emission neutral will again cost hundreds of billions, if it is possible at all, since emission-free agriculture still has to be invented, and steel production without coke ovens as well. If we want to achieve the goals of the climate law, then these sectors will probably have to disappear completely from our country, and with them hundreds of thousands of jobs and hundreds of billions in income. Again, the impact of the Netherlands on the climate is at the most 0.00007 degrees. In our small country, we emit no more than 160 tons CO2 per year, an amount that China releases in 5 days. If VVD, CDA, D66, PFTA, GroenLinks, ChristenUnie, SP and 50 plus get their way, the Netherlands will not only spend 1,000 billion, 1 trillion, on an entirely useless operation in advance, but we will also lose a very large part of our economic production and businesses, a very unfortunate plan, therefore, which the House of Representatives has unquestionably agreed to. Only the Senate can now stop the climate law, therefore, vote on Forum for Democracy on 20 March. Sources: https://www.type.nl/pdf/abnotity_climate-belay_climate-belay_jimp_omgveen.pdf.
The rest is not really checked qua translation. He said this during a debate organized by Elsevier in the bar. And if you would like additional 6,000 kilowatt hour capture via solar panels, you have to have 50 square meters of solar panels. This amount comes from a very detailed analysis of 2 engineers. Braid of Builds and Process Design Center. Well, we can see the original list of sources on Forum for Democracy.nl. Here you see Braid of Builds is correct. I didn't expect that. I thought it was a translation of some name or whatever. So very detailed analysis of 2 engineers. Their report appears Wednesday, February 13th. See hierover see about this the work of the Dutch economist Leon. Forbes and other links are listed. I will link the link in the description. I'll put the link in the description. We find that the value of wind power is slightly higher than the value of a constant electricity source at low penetration, but falls to 0.5 to 0.8 at a market share of 30%. Solar reaches a similar level at 15% penetration because its generation is concentrated in fewer hours. We identify several drivers that affect the value of renewables significantly. Well, one thing is perhaps geothermal energy, and the other one is sea energy, which is more efficient than wind turbine wind energy. So this is shocking. It was shocking to me as well, first time I read it. I've made another version of this, a Dutch version and a long version where I also contemplate on all this. And there's a video with this, see if it has closed captions. It has closed captions, then we can have translation to English probably, but it won't be very good. Auto translate English. Alright, the energy transition. What does it cost and how much does it make?
€650 miljard. Dat kost het minimaal als we de klimaatwet gaan uitvoeren die de gevestigde partijen willen aannemen. Zij willen in
So 650 billion is the correct translation.
wet gaan uitvoeren die de gevestigde partijen 650 miljard euro. Dat kost het minimaal als we de klimaatwet gaan uitvoeren die de gevestigde partijen willen aannemen. Zij willen in 2050 de Nederlandse CO2-uitstoot met 95% verminderen. Om dat doel te halen willen zij de volgende maatregelen doordrukken. Alle Nederlandse huishoudens moeten van het gas af. Mensen moeten hun cv-ketels en gaskachels vervangen, een warmtepomp van 20.000 euro aanschaffen, hun keuken verbouwen en extreem hoge isolatiekosten maken. In totaal moet u denken aan een bedrag van 235 miljard, oftewel zo'n 60.000 euro per gezin. Ook de bedrijfsgebouwen moeten gasneutraal worden. Dit vergt een vergelijkbare investering, opnieuw ruim 200 miljard. Om mensen te dwingen die kosten te maken, gaat de belasting op gas met 75% omhoog. Ook moeten de 5 Nederlandse kolencentrales worden gesloten. Hoeveel dit precies gaat kosten is niet te zeggen, omdat volkomen onduidelijk is wat hiervoor in de plaats gaat komen. Waarschijnlijk komt het erop neer dat we biomassa gaan verstoken, oftewel hout en zaagsel uit Canada, wat geen CO2-reductie oplevert, maar in de definities van het Parijsakkoord bizar genoeg wel als duurzaam geldt. Verder wordt minstens 140 miljard aan subsidies uitgekeerd voor zonnepanelen, biomassa en windmolens. En zullen talloze bedrijven Nederland verlaten omdat het simpelweg hier te duur wordt. Al deze maatregelen die het kabinet Rutte wil doorvoeren, kosten de Nederlandse belastingbetaler de komende 30 jaar minstens 650 miljard. Een bedrag dat makkelijk zou kunnen oplopen tot 1000 miljard. Wat is hiervan het effect? Als Nederland deze gigantische operatie onderneemt, zal dat in het meest optimistische scenario 0,00007 graden minder opwarming betekenen. 0,00007 graden. Een totaal insignificant en zelfs onmeetbaar temperatuurverschil. Bovendien doen industriële reuzen als China, India, de Verenigde Staten en Rusland niet mee met deze energietransitie. Net als overigens talloze andere landen zoals Turkije, Iran en Australië. Het effect dat wij bereiken met deze voorgenomen transitie wordt dus sowieso teniet gedaan. FVD vindt het zeer onverstandig om als braafste jongetje van de klas ons geld weg te smijten aan het obsessief terugdringen van dat kleine beetje CO2 dat wij vergeleken met andere landen uitstoten. Zeker als talloze landen om ons heen dat ook niet doen. FVD wil dus niet obsessief van het gas af. Geen peperdure en horizonvervuilende windmolens meer. En als u zonnepanelen wilt plaatsen is dat prima, maar uw buurman hoeft daar niet langer via belastingen voor te betalen. We kunnen die honderden miljarden die Rutte nu wil uitgeven aan volkomen zinloze klimaatdoelen zoveel beter gebruiken. FVD wil investeren in de zorg, in het onderwijs, in veiligheid en woningbouw. En als de zeespiegel door die 0,00007 graden extra opwarming dan toch wat zou gaan stijgen, dan houden we nog ruimschoots genoeg over om de dijken op te hogen, zoals we altijd hebben gedaan. Dat is onze visie. Zo gaan we het doen.
Well, it was a totally disastrous translation. It's really not usable. What can I say? I could translate it sentence by sentence, basically, and then compare it to what the closed caption engine shows us qua translation.
650 miljard euro.
650 billion euros, that's correct.
Dat kost het minimaal als we...
That's the minimal cost if
de klimaatwet gaan uitvoeren.
We'll implement the climate law, new climate law.
Die de gevestigde partijen willen aannemen.
That the established parties want to adopt or implement.
Zij willen in 2050 de Nederlandse CO2-uitstoot met 95% verminderen.
They want to reduce the CO2 carbon emissions by 2050 with 95%. They want to reduce it by 95%.
Om dat doel te halen willen zij de volgende maatregelen doordrukken.
To achieve this goal, they want to push through the following measures.
Alle Nederlandse huishoudens moeten van het gas af.
All Dutch households must stop using gas.
Mensen moeten hun cv-ketels en gaskachels vervangen.
Their central heating and heaters must be replaced.
Een warmtepomp
Boilers also. And a heat pump of €20,000
€20.000 aanschaffen.
has to be invested in, bought.
Keuken verbouwen en extreem hoge.
They have to remodel the kitchen.
Isolatiekosten maken. €20.000.
And make extremely high costs, spend an insane amount on isolation, insulating the house or whatever.
Aanschaffen, hun keuken verbouwen en extreem hoge isolatiekosten maken. In totaal moet u denken aan een bedrag van €235 miljard, oftewel zo'n €60.000 per gezin.
In total, that would be 235 billion, €60,000 per family.
Ook de bedrijfsgebouwen moeten gasneutraal worden. Dit vergt een vergelijkbare investering. Neutraal worden. Bedrijfsgebouwen moeten gasneutraal worden. Ook de bedrijfsgebouwen
Also, company buildings
moeten gasneutraal worden.
have to become gas neutral. Don't know if that means CO2 gas. And I think that natural gas is one of the cleanest forms of energy, that it's cleaner than biofuel, burning trees, etc. I think they're totally insane, and this is clearly done to reduce the global population. As I've also shown with the statistics in previous broadcasts, here you can see there was a lot more CO2 in our atmosphere. About 400 to 600 million years ago, it was like 100 times the amount of CO2 there is now. Anyway, let's continue the broadcast first.
Dit vergt een vergelijkbare investering. Opnieuw ruim 200 miljard.
So to do it for the homes of the civilians is 235 billion, and for companies it's 210 billion.
Om mensen te dwingen die kosten te maken.
To force people to pay that much money.
Gaat de belasting op gas met 75% omhoog.
There will be a gas tax on gas that goes up with 75%.
Ook moeten de 5 Nederlandse kolencentrales worden gesloten. Hoeveel?
Also, the charcoal factories will have to be closed. Kolencentrales. Coal factories, I guess. For now, that will suffice.
Dit precies gaat kosten is niet te zeggen, omdat volkomen onduidelijk is.
How much this will cost is hard to say or impossible to say because it's completely unclear
Wat ervoor in de plaats gaat komen.
what they will get instead of that type of energy. So they have no alternative.
Waarschijnlijk komt het neer dat we biomassa gaan verstoken.
Probably biofuel is going to be burned.
Terwijl hout en zaagsel uit Canada, wat geen
Wood and what do you call it? Minced wood, zaagsel from Canada.
CO2-reductie oplevert, maar in de definities van het Parijsakkoord bizar genoeg wel als duurzaam geldt.
And it will not result in a CO2 reduction but bizarrely enough
oplevert, maar in de definities van het Parijsakkoord bizar genoeg wel als duurzaam geldt.
According to the definitions of the Paris Agreement, it is considered sustainable.
Verder wordt minstens 140 miljard aan subsidies uitgekeerd voor Verder wordt minstens 140 miljard aan subsidies uitgekeerd.
Other than that, at least 140 billion will be spent in subsidies for solar panels.
Voor zonnepanelen, biomassa en windmolens.
And of course, that's also paid by the taxpayers.
En zullen talloze bedrijven Nederland verlaten omdat het simpelweg hier te duur wordt.
And lots of companies will leave the Netherlands because it will become too expensive to stay in the Netherlands.
Al deze maatregelen die het kabinet Rutte wil doorvoeren, kosten de Nederlandse belastingbetaler de komende 30 jaar minstens 650 miljard.
All these measures that the Rutte cabinet wants to push through will cost at least
minstens 650 miljard.
650 billion, and that's mistranslated as 150 billion, perhaps because of the audio, the music that's in the background, so that is also translated by the closed caption thing that is making the translation.
Een bedrag dat makkelijk zou kunnen oplopen tot 1000 miljard.
An amount that can easily become 1 trillion.
Wat is hiervan het effect? Als Nederland deze gigantische operatie onderneemt, zal dat in het meest optimistische scenario...
What is the effect of this? And it's also in the article that I've already covered. I think it's expressed in that better, so rewind or read it in the description how the 1 trillion sum is calculated.
Onderneemt, zal dat in het meest optimistische scenario 0,0007 graden minder opwarming betekenen. Zal dat in het meest...
Let's rewind a bit.
Wat effect? Als Nederland deze gigantische operatie onderneemt, zal dat in het meest...
If the Netherlands will partake in this gigantic operation, that will result in the most optimistic scenario in a 0.00007 degree less heating. So a tiny fraction of a degree Celsius less heating would be the result.
0,7 graden minder opwarming betekent.
0.00007 degrees less global warming, or warming of our planet supposedly.
Een totaal insignificant en zelfs onmeetbaar temperatuurverschil.
An insignificant and even unmeasurable temperature difference.
Bovendien doen industriële reuzen als China, India, de Verenigde Staten en Rusland niet mee met dit.
Industrial giants, China, Russia, India and the US do not join in the energy transition. Don't know if that's the same as the Green New Deal. Trump made clear global warming is a very expensive hoax. Total very expensive hoax in 2013 on his Twitter. I've shown that in previous broadcasts, so check it out.
Deze energietransitie, net als overigens talloze andere landen zoals Turkije, Iran en Australië.
And numerous other countries are not joining in. Turkey, Australia, etc.
Het effect dat wij bereiken met deze voorgenomen transitie wordt dus sowieso teniet gedaan.
The effect that we will achieve with this transition is therefore cancelled anyway. That's a pretty reasonable translation.
FVD vindt het zeer onverstandig om als braafste jongetje van je klas ons...
FVD, Forum for Democracy, thinks it's very unwise to throw our money away.
Geld weg te smijten aan obsessies terugdringen van...
To spend it on the obsessive reduction.
Dat kleine beetje CO2 dat wij...
of a tiny bit of CO2, carbon,
vergeleken met andere landen uitstoot.
That we, compared to other countries, emit.
Zeker als talloze landen om ons heen, dat...
Certainly if numerous countries around us do not either.
Ook niet doen.
When
FVD dus niet op...
So FVW...
Obsessief van het gas. Geen...
Don't want... FVD doesn't want to obsessively stop using gas.
Geen peperdure en hoge vervuilende windmolens. Geen peperdure en hoge vervuilende windmolens.
No more expensive and horizon polluting wind turbines.
En als u zonnepanelen plaatst, is dat prima.
And if you want to place solar panels, that's fine.
Maar uw buurman hoeft daar niet langer voor belasting te betalen.
But your neighbor will not have to pay for that anymore via taxes.
We kunnen honderden miljarden Rutte nu weer uitgeven aan volkomen zinloze klimaatdoelen die honderden niet langer via belasting worden betaald. We kunnen honderden miljarden Rutte nu weer uitgeven aan...
We can spend the hundreds of billions Rutte now wants to spend.
Volkomen zinloze klimaatdoelen. Zoveel miljarden Rutte nu weer uitgeven aan volkomen zinloze klimaatdoelen.
On totally useless climate goals, directives.
Zoveel beter gebruiken.
We can use that money so much better.
VVD investeert in zorg, in onderwijs, in veiligheid, woningen.
FVD wants to invest in care, also for the elderly.
VVD investeert in zorg, in onderwijs, in
education,
veiligheid, woningen.
Safety, and in the not commodities, it's housing.
En als de zeespiegel door 0,0...
I don't know if it's commodities, I'd have to Google it.
In het onderwijs, in veiligheid, woningen. En als de zeespiegel door 0,0007 graden extra opwarming dan toch wat zal gaan stijgen...
And if the sea level would rise because of the 0.00007 degrees warming up of the planet, if the sea level would rise because of that, then we'd still have money for dikes, for making the dikes higher.
Dan houden we nog ruimschoots genoeg over om de dijken op te hogen. Zoals we altijd hebben gedaan.
Like we've always done. So when the sea level rises, the dikes have to be made higher as well. And if we spend all that money on climate gate, on the carbon tax scam of Al Gore paid for by George Soros, then that money will not be available anymore. So then it's bye-bye Netherlands.
Dat is onze visie. Zo gaan we het doen.
That's our vision, that's the way we're gonna do it. Alright, so, well, it's shocking, and I think the Dutch people don't realize that the implications will be that horrendous for themselves as well. So I make this video in the hope that they will not overspend on these things, that they will keep spendings to a minimum or bring it down to zero if possible, to be able to spend it on other things we really need in controlling these factors that control aging, for example, housing for the elderly, schooling, and the basic things that people need. Because if we spend that much money for the Netherlands, $1 trillion is a gigantic sum of money, and they usually don't deal with sums that big in the cabinet. Usually it's million or billion, not trillion in the Netherlands. The US spent $5 trillion on what some consider the illegal wars in the Middle East. But it's the third largest country qua number of citizens, the US. Let's turn on the other slideshow. So the Netherlands has about 15 million citizens, the US has 327 million. So that's like well, a lot more anyway. I'd have to calculate. 15 million, 327 million. I can use a calculator. Well, if it takes that long to start up, then I'm not gonna do that, because I'm rolling. So this was the whole broadcast. If you don't wanna listen to me whine about all this, then check one of my other broadcasts on perfect society. It's horrible, and many farmers in the Netherlands have already committed suicide. It's already affecting them negatively. So that's what the elite is targeting, and it will mainly affect poor people that are using a relatively larger amount of their income on energy already. They will be hit hardest by this carbon tax scam in all countries that have joined this. So they focus on saving the dead Earth. The Earth is dead, only the organisms on and in it are alive. To misdirect the people, to reduce the global population, in other words, to kill everyone. To reduce the global population to a more controllable number. A quote not attributable to Rockefeller in reality, that's a misquote. So who said that, and could it be part of a program? So that quote is not attributable to anyone, but it is the real goal. Control the position thing. So Piers Corbyn has a youth movement, but we need a real movement, real resistance to this carbon tax scam. And I think it should be global. It can be an internet movement, and it can also be a local movement in the Netherlands and other countries that are affected by this, but also to prevent other countries from becoming victims of the carbon tax scam. So this is one of the reasons FVD, Forum for Democracy, is one of the largest parties, or actually it's the fastest growing party in the Netherlands, I mean. And it may become one of the largest parties. As you all know, I don't believe in electronic voting. I hope you all don't either. So votes should be counted by hand, because they have wireless energy, the same technology to crash the planes into the Twin Towers. And certain words are demonetized. So I'm trying to avoid anything that could be in violation of the YouTube user policy, of course. So if people want to do a live broadcast, that's possible. But if they say anything in violation of the YouTube user policy, then I'll turn it off and delete the video. So I think it's better if people call me via ProLogic 999, we can do a broadcast. But then I'll record it, and then when it's okay, I'll upload it to YouTube. Piers Corbyn has made very good points. Let's see if I can find the quote. Yes. Piers Corbyn quote: "We should also remember that electric cars are coal-powered cars because 90% of electricity is coal-produced. And even if that would change in the Netherlands, in other countries, it won't change. Or only a little bit, perhaps." And it can also be nuclear, then you have nuclear waste. Usually it's not geothermal energy nor sea energy. And the water-powered car.com car is also blocked by them. I was gonna show Danny Klein on Fox News. Let's see that is more entertaining also. Okay, Danny Klein, water car, plans, patents. Is that the one, or is it this one? Water powered car by Dennis Klein.
Turn the machine on.
Denny Klein fires up his hot new invention. His machine emits a...
Turn the machine on.
Denny Klein fires up his hot new invention. His machine emits a flame that feels only slightly warm to the touch. But watch what happens when he touches anything else.
Instantaneously, I can burn a hole right down through the center of that brick.
The flame instantly turns hotter than the surface of the sun. Heat so intense it takes only seconds to literally burn a hole through charcoal. 3 seconds turns a brass ball to glowing liquid metal. Tungsten lights up like a sparkler. Steel, lead, and other metals slices on contact. Yet the tip of the welder stays cool to the touch.
No other gas will do this.
Denny Klein uses an alternative fuel source once thought impossible. He says people still have trouble believing him when he reveals his liquid fuel.
Water. Take water and electricity, and we break it down through our very unique electrolysis process.
Klein has just patented his process of converting H2O to HHO, producing a gas that combines the atomic power of hydrogen with the chemical stability of water.
It turns right back to water. You can see the water running off of this.
Klein originally designed his water-burning engine for cutting metal. He thought his invention would replace volatile acetylene in welding factories. Then one day, as he drove to his laboratory in Clearwater, he thought of another way to burn his HHO gas.
On a 100-mile trip, we use about 4 ounces of water.
Klein says his prototype 1994 Ford Escort can travel exclusively on water, though he currently has it rigged to run as a water and gasoline hybrid.
Simply speaking, it can change the world by reducing our dependence on fossil fuels.
These are equivalent to our...
Pete Dominici is helping Klein take his hydrogen technology patents from a 2-room office in Clearwater to consumer markets around the world.
You know what? Microsoft came out of nowhere, came out of the garage. Why not hydrogen technologies?
The duo is already in negotiations with one U.S. automaker and the U.S. government. Their plans have grown from basic welding with water to powering the entire world from the safest and cleanest fuel on Earth. Craig Patrick, Fox News.
Members of Congress recently invited Denny Klein to Washington to demonstrate his technology. Now his company is currently developing a Hummer for the U.S. military that can run on both water and gasoline. So far, his water-powered engines have passed all performance safety inspections, so all systems appear to be go right now, and gives new meaning to the term running water.
You just have to hope that water prices don't go up like the gas.
So that was on Fox News, and you also have waterpoweredcar.com car. Waterpoweredcar.com. So here people can find more information as well. Is this really blocked by the patent office? Can they make a deal so that we all can use water? A special hydrogen patents. Is it a hydrogenator or something like that? I don't know too much about it, but Denny Klein has passed away in the meantime, so they cannot attack him anymore, that's for sure. Yeah, this is it for this broadcast. People can also check the Dutch channel, Forum for Democracy. Let's turn the picture slideshow on again. I did broadcast about these patents. This is known as the HARP patent of Dr. Bernard Eastland. And a patent is not provided unless it's a working device. So that's good to know. And basically people may build these devices for themselves, but they may not derive benefit from it. They may not sell, for example, the water-powered car, for as far as I know. So that's why they're selling these kits, so people can build it themselves. And usually it's a hybrid, so they can save money on fuel. So I think Piers Corbyn has good points. I want to make sure that I show all these graphs basically. but you can see them, and I explain in more detail what their meaning is in my previous broadcasts. Where is world climate going? Solar activity predicts major cooling. This graph of sunspots is by Timo Niroma. Its implied cooling is in line with Piers Corbin's solar. Well, you can read it for yourselves, so pause it and then you can read exactly what it is and what it says. It's usually quite easy to understand. Oh yeah, geothermal energy. Much cleaner than nuclear energy. No nuclear waste. I already turned on the Piers Corbin slideshow in the background. Just waiting until I've seen all these graphs. Well, we've seen that one before. So in reality, it concerns global warming and cooling, natural warm periods and ice ages they're called, and not anthropogenic or man-caused global warming of the planet. So Piers Corbin and others proved that beyond any reasonable doubt, with scientific evidence, graphics and peer-reviewed scientific documents, data. Polar bears did very well in warmer times. They didn't die out at all. Alright. So check these previous broadcasts, and I think it's good to have a basic understanding of this stuff, so that you can explain why it is not caused by man. My most recent theory on this is I wrote it down. Anyway, my most recent theory is that if there is any anthropogenic global warming, it's caused by ionospheric heaters modifying our jet stream and nothing else, because they use these terawatts, burning natural gas and diesel, etc. And of course, the cancer chemtrails trap the heat. The clouds-heated clouds make sure that the heat cannot dissipate into space, but is trapped between the clouds-heated clouds and the Earth. Also, cancer cell phone radiation heats up people's eyeball with about 2 degrees Celsius. So wouldn't it be better to use scalar waves instead? Nikola Tesla's radiant energy. It would be because scalar waves, some types of scalar waves, travel faster than the speed of light. And cancer cell phone radiation increases people's cancer risk. So that's that reproducible test people can do at home. Prick some blood, put it under a microscope. Then you see your swimming red blood cells. Then use a cancer cell phone for about 90 seconds. Do the test again, and then you can see your lumping red blood cells that are lumping together. Some call it rolls of coins, a symptom known to doctors as rouleau. And that is one reason for the cancer risk increase in other diseases. They may pretend it's harmless, but it's not harmless. Otherwise it would not be a symptom. In theory. So you can also see on the MRI scans that people have these tumors in their brains on the side where they keep their cancer cell phone to their head. And it also causes DNA breaks and chromosomal damage. So that's why they want to roll out the 5G cancer cell phone network to reduce that global population. And the mind-controlled masses are tricked in several ways. Fair electronic voting is impossible, and we're in a non-fictional cyberocracy, synthetic telepathy since 1974. And I've covered other patents, including the scalar patents, on trysomething.vegetarian. And on this channel, I'm still building up this channel with what I think is most important for the future of humanity. For creating a perfect society. So I think this is another awesome broadcast. I think this is another awesome broadcast. And it's very annoying what they're doing to my brainwave when I practice speaking all day. That's why they do the attacks on my broadcast area with directed energy weapons to give me slurred speech and make me look like a mentally impaired person. So that's all made by the AI. Our brainwave is electromagnetic. There's nothing we can do about it, so we should look at the message of the person and not every deviation from that caused by these directed energy weapons and synthetic telepathy by the voice of God weapon. So now we can end this broadcast. You can see I'm already burning. That bad. So people can get activistic, basically dabble in activism, boycotting companies that must be boycotted, handing out flyers why they should vote for FVD or any other party that you think is best, etc. Protests, petitions, and unite and get organized. They can make videos about this, make people aware, educational videos, or just your opinion about this stuff. I think it's important to talk about it. Just sitting back and letting them do this is going to cost potentially millions of lives, and that has to do with the state of the economy and the cost, among other things. So we want to keep these companies in the Netherlands. The farmers should have good support from our government so that they can keep on existing, because it's also an important part of the Dutch economy. And it's sad that it has come to this, that it has taken this turn. But perhaps it's still correctable, so we should never give up. Our lives are at stake. Our life is the most important thing. These are people that want to reduce the global population and scam us all to death. So we have to unite, share information, and take action. If we don't take action, they've already won. If we do not act, we are acted upon, George Orwell. And telling the truth in a time of universal deceit is a crime, basically. So it's not a revolutionary act, to keep it clear. So that's it for now. I'm a bit negative because of this, reading this stuff. So try to read people. so try to read people. Okay, I'll try. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time on Perfect Society. It is good to become vegan because it's healthier as long as you take enough vitamin B12 and eat a balanced diet, because animal protein, especially animal fat, increase people's cancer risk. And up to 16 kilograms of grain are needed to produce 1 kilogram of cancer hormone cow meat. And originally humans are herbivores. So our stomachs are better suited to digest plant food and not meat or cadavers. Also, these cadavers get Roundup Ready soy to eat, so if you eat that meat, then you can also become sterile from that and get cancer, which is what they want you all to do. They want you all to die, to keep it clear, and they're reducing the global population under the guise of saving the people. That was also the reason for the judge to make this new climate law that is applicable to the people in the Netherlands. But if we don't reach that 25% reduction goal, what will they do then? They can't lock us all up. So it's weird. Baudet also thinks that this does not belong on the chair of the judge, or how do you say it? It's not something that the judges should decide about. But that has to do with the fact that it's a carbon tax scam. So based on their data, it could endanger the people's lives, and that is their excuse to do this to the people. So it's a satanic inversion. In reality, it's a way to reduce the global population. These farmers that have committed suicide are one example of this. But as we have all read now, there's a lot more to come. And it is possible that people will rise up against this. They were scammed, and they will want their money back, their jobs back, their house back, and their life back. So, tune in next time on Perfect Society. We have to keep hoping, and not just that, we have to do stuff to make the future we want for ourselves, to prevent being reduced to nothingness. Okay, I'm not doing the U2 lyric. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. And do stuff to create universal peace.